Companies there making the most of high demand here, certainly. And what are they seeing?
Oh, well, absolutely, Rashad. In fact, India is in the mid of the festive season, and this is usually a time where Indians gift a lot, they travel a lot, and also indulge in home improvements. And that's precisely the reason that you're seeing high demand in various items. In fact, so much so that the end of the season sales, the festive season sales for e-commerce companies registered a growth of almost 20%. If you look at digital payments, up almost about 40% from a year ago period. And that really shows that Indians are splurging a lot this festive season. And this is really going to aid the economy. They're looking at buying smartphones, cars, you name it, and Indians are buying it. That essentially means that this is going to come in as a big booster shot for the Indian economy and will, in fact, keep the growth rates higher going forward. In fact, if you look at growth this time around, it is broad-based. Consumption is happening both in rural and urban areas, mostly on account of the fact that we're seeing inflation levels easing a bit and also general wages increasing both in urban and rural areas. And that's precisely the reason that we're seeing consumption happening in the economy. As I said, this is going to come in as a booster shot because remember, consumption accounts for almost 60% of India's GDP. The next set of numbers are awaited on the 30th of November, and it is widely believed. In fact, the RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das just yesterday at an event in Mumbai did say that he is expecting that the second quarter GDP numbers will show, will have a good number. It will be a surprise on the upside. But all in all, this comes in as good news for the Indian economy. Inflation is low, growth seems to be picking up, and as we're heading into election season, what else can the government really ask for?
Ruchi, can we quantify the kind of boost this will have on the economy?
The government expects that, and in fact, the central bank also expects that growth for India is going to be somewhere between 6 to 6.5% for the current fiscal year. And if we do see a good second quarter number, this is going to come in as a big shot. In fact, we had seen that in the previous 2 quarters as well, it was mostly the services sector that was propelling the economy hard. But now, from the services sector, we're seeing manufacturing activity now picking up. In fact, when for this story, when we did speak with a lot of manufacturers from car makers such as Maruti Suzuki to others, other contract manufacturers like Dixon, they told us that they've been very busy. This is the busiest time of the season for them. In fact, sales during the festive season account for almost 30% of the annual sales for a lot of companies. So they're busy. They're past their issues such as the semiconductor shortages and the elevated commodity prices that we once saw that they were dealing with in the last festive, in the last year. So this festive season, it's good news all across. We're seeing secular consumption trends in the economy, both for rural and urban areas, and that's something that the government should certainly take heart from.